You replay the conversation again and again in your head. Every sentence, every pause, every look on their face. Hours later, sometimes days later, you are still wondering what you should have said differently, whether that joke sounded stupid, whether you talked too much, or whether that silence meant something bad. And the strangest part is that while everyone else seems to move on effortlessly, your mind keeps looping the moment like it is trying to solve a problem that never ends. You have probably been told that you think too much, that you need to relax, that you should stop analyzing everything. But what if the real problem is not that you overthink conversations, but that nobody ever explained why your brain does this in the first place? Most people assume overthinking is a flaw, a lack of confidence, or a sign of anxiety that needs to be eliminated. But psychology paints a very different picture. Overthinking conversations is not random, and it is not a character defect. It is a predictable result of how certain brains process social information. Your mind is not replaying conversations because it enjoys torturing you. It is replaying them because it is trying to protect you, learn from social data, and prevent future mistakes. The problem is not that your brain is broken. The problem is that your brain is running a system that was never designed for a world this fast, this noisy, and this socially overwhelming. To understand why you overthink every conversation, we need to talk about how your brain handles social input. Imagine two people walking into the same room and having the same conversation. One person experiences it like a snapshot, a quick impression that fades shortly after the interaction ends. The other experiences it like a high-resolution recording, capturing tone, facial expressions, emotional shifts, subtext, and unspoken signals all at once. If you are the second type, your brain does not just register what was said. It registers how it was said, what might have been meant, what changed emotionally from one moment to the next, and how that interaction could affect future relationships. This depth of processing is incredibly powerful, but it comes with a cost. When your brain collects more data, it also feels responsible for making sense of all of it. One of the main reasons you overthink conversations is something psychologists call depth of processing. Your brain does not skim social experiences, it dives into them. While other people may move on after an interaction, your mind continues working in the background, connecting the conversation to past experiences, personal values, and potential future outcomes. This is why you can remember small details that others forget, and why you often sense emotional shifts before anyone says a word. Your brain is not stuck. It is thorough. It is running simulations, asking questions like, did I say the right thing? Did I miss something important? And how can I do better next time? This process was originally adaptive. In small groups and slower societies, it helped people avoid conflict, strengthen bonds, and anticipate danger. But in modern life, where we have dozens of conversations every day, that same system can become overwhelming. Another major factor behind conversational overthinking is heightened social awareness. Your brain is especially sensitive to social feedback, which means it pays close attention to how others respond to you. A neutral expression can feel ambiguous. A delayed reply can feel loaded. A short answer can feel like rejection. Your mind tries to fill in the gaps, not because you are insecure, but because ambiguity feels unsafe to a brain that is designed to detect subtle emotional cues. When information is incomplete, your brain keeps searching for meaning. And the more important relationships are to you, the harder your mind works to ensure you did not damage them in some invisible way. There is also an emotional component that many people misunderstand. Overthinking conversations is often linked to empathy. If you are highly empathetic, your brain does not just process your own perspective. It constantly tries to model the other person's internal state. You imagine how your words landed, how they might have felt, and what they could be thinking afterward. This ability allows for deep connection, emotional intelligence, and strong intuition, but it also means you carry more emotional weight after interactions. Your brain does not simply end the conversation when it is over. It keeps it open, as if the emotional exchange is still happening. Over time, this pattern can create exhaustion and self-doubt. You might start believing that something is wrong with you, that you are socially awkward, or that you lack confidence. But here's the truth that rarely gets said. Overthinking conversations is not a sign that you are socially incompetent. It is often a sign that you are socially attuned. The same brain that replays conversations is the brain that notices nuance, avoids unnecessary conflict, and deeply understands others. The problem is not the ability itself. The problem is that this ability is running without boundaries in an environment that constantly overstimulates it. So what do you do with this knowledge? The goal is not to stop thinking altogether. That would be like telling a high-performance engine to stop working because it gets hot. The real solution is learning when to disengage the analysis loop. One of the most important shifts you can make is understanding that not every conversation requires optimization. Your brain treats social interactions like exams, but most conversations are not tests. They are exchanges. They are imperfect, messy, and quickly forgotten by everyone else. When you remind yourself that the other person is far more focused on their own internal world than on analyzing your words, you interrupt the false sense of urgency your mind creates. Another powerful shift is learning to separate reflection from rumination. Reflection asks, what can I learn from this? And then moves on. Rumination asks, what if I ruined everything? And never finds an answer. When you catch yourself replaying a conversation, gently ask whether your thoughts are leading to insight or simply looping in uncertainty. If there is no new information being added, your brain is no longer solving a problem. It is just burning energy. Giving yourself permission to stop is not avoidance. It is regulation. Finally, it helps to reframe what overthinking actually means about you. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not socially defective. You are someone whose brain values connection, meaning, and emotional accuracy. That is not something to eliminate. It is something to manage with compassion. When you stop treating overthinking as an enemy and start seeing it as an overactive protective system, the shame begins to dissolve. And when shame dissolves, clarity follows. If you have spent years replaying conversations and wondering why your mind refuses to let go, remember this: your brain is not stuck in the past. It is trying to keep you safe in the future. Learning when to listen to it and when to gently set it aside is not about becoming less thoughtful. It is about becoming more at peace.